Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to the channel. My name is Nini and today, well actually it's going to be a week-long video. For this week I thought that to make up for all of the content that I haven't been posting for the past month, that I would do a drawing every single day of this week. Today is Sunday at 3:58 p.m. I woke up kind of late today because I'm feeling pretty lazy, but I wanted to get out of that funk by drawing in my sketchbook every day. I'm almost done with my sketchbook. Like, look at how thick this thing is. Yeah, and I really want to be able to finish it quicker so I can go ahead and do the sketchbook tour because oh, there's so much content in this sketchbook. I really like this sketchbook. This Ohuhu mixed media sketchbook. But yeah, I'm going to try to fill a spread every day of this week from today, Sunday, until Saturday. There will be different, I guess, prompts. I'm not sure if I'm going to do prompts or if I'm just going to do random sketches, but yeah, if you like the video, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button, and I will really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna say this for a majority of the days of this week-long challenge, but I had no idea what I was going to be drawing for this day. I didn't really plan out what I was going to be doing for the challenge because I didn't want to force myself to stick to any pre-made prompts. I really just wanted to draw. For this challenge, I also wanted to use different mediums like gouache in order to practice them in the sketchbook at least once before the sketchbook is completed. There are also different levels of rendering for each of the days, and this kind of reflects how lazy I was feeling that day due to school or work. You may notice that some of these videos were filmed during the night, and that very much is correlated with my tiredness, and I'm sorry about that. Anyways, I just really wanted to film something that I don't normally do in order to provide some variation to my content and also fill up a couple of spreads in my sketchbook because my sketchbook is actually almost done. After this challenge, I only have about 7 spreads left, and I'm so excited to finally film the sketchbook tour. Anyways, I guess I should actually talk about the actual spread for this day. Like I said before, I had no idea what I wanted to draw, so I just started drawing cute little strawberries, but then that got me thinking about a strawberry-themed mouse maid character, and I imagined that this character would be like the big sister figure to other rodent maids that would be working in some like fantastical manner in the forest, and she would like take time out of the day to forage for herbs and of course strawberries. This is the concept behind the second sketch in the spread, and I was supposed to draw her with a basket or a wagon to collect the strawberries, but I forgot. Since her concept is based around strawberries, I made it so that she had a strawberry red and green color palette. She wears a simple red dress with frills on the ends of the sleeves, and she also has matching red flats, a white frilly apron with a vivid green bow to wrap around her waist, and a green headband in like typical maid character fashion. I didn't put too much thought into this design because this challenge was just supposed to be chill and not too stressful, but I have thought about doing research in the future to create more accurate maid costumes for characters such as this one. I didn't really want to stress myself out too much with this first day though, so this spread isn't fully rendered. Though I might render it before my final sketchbook tour. I used a red Prismacolor colored pencil to sketch the character out, and then just did a light wash of watercolor to do the base colors of this character's outfit and fur color. I've thought about making a full render of this character digitally, since I've been doing quite a few digital character spreads recently, which you can see on my Instagram. I think that these sketches are really cute, and I really enjoyed the whole process of sketching and conceptualizing this character. All in all, this was definitely a nice start to this challenge. It was only the second day of this challenge and I was feeling drained. If you don't know, I am currently a university student in my second year, and I usually have in-person classes on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm currently taking an intermediate graphic design course, and today it was really pushing at my buttons. This day we were having a critique for our current assignment, and I felt so anxious that I actually felt really nauseous, and I just wanted to go to sleep once I got back to my dorm. But I had to persevere because I felt like I really had to push myself for this day because I really did not want to give up on this challenge so soon into the week, and that would have just been sad. I'm really glad that I gathered up the strength to keep on going though. So the title Remains of the Day comes from a musical number in the movie The Corpse Bride, and I feel like it really summed up what I was feeling at the time. I think that I said this in one of my sketchbook tours, but I have been really enjoying drawing skeletons and skulls ever since my senior year of high school, and I really felt like the subject definitely matched the vibe for this day. I started out just sketching out a human skull, which is always a blast, and I really enjoy trying to give a skull which has limited expressiveness as much expression as I can, even if it's not anatomically correct. I then moved on to sketch some skeletal remains lying in the dirt, surrounded by some dandelions and greenery. This is my attempt to not just draw a subject, but also draw the subject is immersed in and interacting with their environment. I felt like this sketch definitely represented what I was feeling that day, just dead and being submerged in dirt. For the last sketch, I really wanted to draw some pumpkins for some reason, so I drew a skeleton abandoned in a composting crate surrounded by overgrown vegetation. I really found the process of sketching out these skeletal remains to be very therapeutic. I was feeling very good about sketching out these ideas, so I thought, why not paint over it with gouache? I was stressed with this gouache. I hadn't used gouache in quite a while, but I really wanted to try to improve my skills with it, and the only way to improve your skills with it is to actually use the dang medium. I've come to the conclusion that my painting style for gouache is the same as my acrylic painting style, in that it is detailed without being detailed, but for some reason I'm just not happy with the way my gouache paintings look, even though I use the same process with my acrylic paintings. Looking at it now, it doesn't look as bad as when I was actually painting these, but I was really coming out of my comfort zone in order to paint these sketches. I still feel that I need to practice with gouache more in the future though, so any advice from fellow artists would be greatly appreciated. I didn't paint over my first sketch of the skull because I really liked how it was. I did start my painting process by going over my sketch with the light wash of watered down yellow-green gouache, and then started on the dirt in the background. I was originally going for the time setting to be in the late afternoon so that the painting would have a warm feeling to it, but in the end it ended up looking like it was more in the noon hours. For the skeleton, I went over it multiple times with white, tan, and warm gray gouache in order to get a feel of where the shadows are going to be in the setting. I didn't get too detailed with the rendering because I wanted to not stress myself out with the semantics of figuring out where to put specific shadows and highlights. I actually almost forgot to paint the dandelions in this sketch, but I'm glad that I did because they provide a pop of color to the painting. I feel like for the sketch with the composting skeleton, I could have gone more in depth with the color variation for the painting. The green and orange look okay, but I think that I could have added another color to the composition in order to make the piece more unified. I also feel like now that the sketch is colored, I can clearly see my mistake with the positioning of the arm over the larger pumpkin. I wanted to make it look like it was lying on top of the pumpkin, but it ended up looking more like it was hovering above it. I didn't end up rendering this sketch as much as I did with the other skeleton sketch because once again I was feeling very drained from the day and I really wanted to hurry to bed. But overall, I did enjoy the concepts and I got to practice using a medium that I rarely use, so this day was a success. Surprise! I actually knew what I wanted to do for this day. You've probably seen this character before in one of my speed paint videos along with her twin brother. This raccoon character is one of my original characters in my Mongol story. She is the twin sister of my other character Jasper. They are identical twins, but this character is kind of the opposite of Jasper, who is shy and keeps to himself. She is very confident in her abilities and is very outspoken. She is also very protective of her brother and will do whatever is necessary to protect him from enemies or temporary allies. This can sometimes cause her to butt heads with people if she feels that they may have overstepped Jasper's boundaries. In my mind, they both work for one of my other characters, which is yet to be named, and they do odd jobs in order to make a living and gather intel. You can kind of see what the sister looks like when she does these odd jobs in the third sketch. Since she is relatively new, I haven't decided on a name for her yet, but I think that I'm going to make her name Jacqueline so that together they can be JJ. So I haven't quite nailed down her clothing design. I kind of want her to be in a romper, but that kind of outfit doesn't quite fit in with the outfits of characters like Mongol, Pep, or Karma. I will most likely be doing another redesign, just focusing on my character's clothing, and I was really hoping that I'm able to make a video out of it too. I'm still pretty new to making videos, so forgive me and try to be patient with my experiments. Any advice would be much appreciated. This redesign will probably cause me to make official character sheets for my original characters of this story, and that kind of makes me both very excited and very nervous. In this spread, I really focused on her expressions and poses. This spread also helped with keeping the consistency of my character designs for Jasper, since they are identical twins. I wanted them to have the same features, but I also wanted for their differing personalities to be present in their expressions and how they carry themselves. So I ended up using a lot of sticky notes for this page in order to cover up mistakes, which is always fun because I get to use my white gel pen in order to add highlights and contrast. Additionally, sticky notes add a pop of color to the spread without me having to use my markers. If you don't know, I really enjoy using pens in order to sketch in my sketchbook. I find them to be very effective for sketching because they don't smudge like pencils do, and there is more contrast between the paper and the sketch marks. This is very evident in my mini sketchbook tour from Halloween. There are a ton of pen sketches in those spreads. Overall, I really enjoyed drawing one of my characters in this challenge. I don't draw her often enough, and I think that might change in the future. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to draw for this day, but then I was scrolling through my own Instagram feed and saw some of the doodles that I did of children playing and decided that I would continue on that. I once again decided to use a pen to sketch these out, and I really wanted to draw these kids actually doing things and having fun. I think that out of all of them, the first sketch is my least favorite one. I wanted this character to have braces, which is something that I've never drawn before, but it didn't really turn out the way that I wanted it to. The braces just kind of ended up making the mouth look too crowded and made the smile look a bit awkward. I also struggled a bit with drawing her feet, which were supposed to be in mid-step. I wanted to make it look like she was on her way home after a day at kindergarten and chatting with like the other kindergartners. My second sketch was definitely my favorite out of the bunch, just because it looks like she's genuinely enjoying herself with whatever game she's trying to play. I did struggle a bit with her hands, but that is kind of expected at this point. My second favorite sketch is definitely the little girl reading a book on the carpet. I don't draw sitting characters very often, and I think that her little pigtails are really cute. Doing all of these sketches of these kids having fun kind of makes me want to explore more with designing child characters for like children's illustrated storybooks or something like that. Recently, I've actually been looking around at like generic writing prompt generators in order to get a starting point for developing an illustrated short story for the future, and I'm thinking about making a process video for that, so look out for that in the future. I also really wanted one of these kids to be in motion, playing some kind of sport, so I drew a girl in the middle of soccer practice. I didn't really have a lot of space left, but I did manage to draw a little girl with a hair scarf and a little girl with no hair, which was inspired by a little girl that I saw on a YouTube video sometime in the past. I didn't use any color in this spread because I was really feeling tired, but I was left with the feeling of accomplishment after sketching this spread. I might come back to it before filming the sketchbook tour though. To be honest, this spread should have been made a long time ago. Serenity is one of my main original characters, but I don't draw her as much as I should, and I feel really bad about it. I draw Zara quite a bit, but I'm always hesitant to draw Serenity because she almost always doesn't look like how I envision her to be. However, when I do actually draw her, I can see some improvement, especially compared to how I first drew her. She's a lot more confident and I can see a lot more of her personality in these sketches, and I'm glad that other people think so as well. I've gotten multiple comments about the expressiveness of my characters recently on my Instagram, and I'm so happy that this is the case. Serenity is supposed to have long hair that's been dyed pink with a long strand coming across her face. She also likes to wear jewelry, which is why in a lot of my earlier drawings of her, I drew her with some kind of choker or necklace. Although I know that I want her to have pink hair, I'm struggling a little bit with designing outfits and choosing colors that would help to complement her hair. Any advice regarding this would be greatly appreciated. Out of the two of us, Serenity is definitely the more fashionable one, which is hard to realize when I'm not very fashionable. For all the new people to my content, Serenity is a trans woman and is in a relationship with my other main character, Zara. I imagine the two of them living together in either an apartment or a small house with their two cats, Monguel and Pep. I'd imagine that Serenity has a job outside the home as either a photographer, probably for weddings, or a potter of some kind. And Zara has a work from home job as either a graphic designer or as a storyboard artist, so that she can stay home and take care of the cats in the house. I haven't really solidified any of these details, so don't hold me to them. I really want to make an official digital art piece of them, but I'm kind of nervous about how it would turn out. So for this spread, I really wanted to practice drawing Serenity in different poses, and I guess just being happy in general. For one of the sketches, I really wanted to show how she is when she's around Zara and how her expression softens in her presence. The bear that she's holding in the last sketch, which I'll be doing in just a few seconds, was a gift from Zara when they first started dating, which is why she's holding it so tightly. All in all, I'm really proud of how this spread turned out, and I'm actually excited about making more art of Zara and Serenity. For this day, I was torn between drawing old men and drawing weirdly shaped trees. You can probably guess which one won out. I think that this is actually my favorite spread from this challenge. One of the goals that I wrote down at the front of my sketchbook was to actually draw more environments or settings for a story world, and I really wanted to incorporate that into this challenge since I feel like I haven't done enough of it previously. For these trees, I really wanted to make them as whimsical as I could, which meant bumpy and claw-like roots matched with fluid trunks and tree limbs. The second tree that I sketched was supposed to be reminiscent of someone walking while carrying something on their back. This was my attempt to make the trees seem more alive than they are, although I'm not quite sure if that came across well. I've thought about coming back to these sketches with some watercolor in order to breathe some more life into them, but that would have to be for another day. In my imagination, the third tree would be absolutely humongous in its natural environment. The large hollow interior of the trunk would be a great lair for some kind of magical beast, or as a hub for different fantastical beings to gather together. I've actually thought of rendering this sketch digitally and adding a human to the scene just to add scale and contrast to the illustration. I think that the fourth tree was definitely my favorite just because of how different it looks compared to the others. I think that it would be a hydra tree where if you cut off one of the branches, two more branches would grow rapidly in its place. This tree might be a nuisance for some people, but in my imagination, this tree would be a great place for a colony of some kind of species of animals to live in. I was actually so scared to color these sketches in because I thought that I would ruin it, which is a horrible mindset to be in because this is a sketchbook and you're supposed to be able to make mistakes in it. I do feel kind of motivated to make some digital versions of each of these trees in the future in the kind of setting that I imagined them being in, but that would have to be way, way in the future when I actually have time and energy to put into this project. All in all, I really feel like these trees turned out really great, and I actually feel like drawing even more to fill up the remaining spreads of my sketchbook. So it is finally the final day of this challenge, and I knew that I wanted to use my alcohol markers for this spread in order to create slightly more rendered sketches. I wanted to draw my human characters because I don't draw them often enough, though unfortunately I left Kendall out due to a lack of space and I really didn't want her to be squished into the middle of the spread, so sorry about that. I drew my main character, Zara and Serenity, and I also drew Brianna, or Bree for short, and her boyfriend, who I think I'm gonna name Kim. I'm still unsure of what his name would be, and I'm still unsure about what he's gonna look like. I've always struggled with his appearance because I don't normally draw men, but I've been trying to get better at it in this sketchbook. Once again, I was kind of iffy about the way that Serenity looked when I was sketching the spread, but I kind of like how it looks now. Zara looks great as always, and Bree looks adorable. So Bree and Kim aren't actually new characters. I actually drew them in the first sketchbook tour that I ever uploaded on this channel, on a spread where I was practicing how to draw in a comic book format. Bree is a short black girl with curly hair and a colorful hair scarf to wrap around it, and she usually wears comfortable hoodies and overalls, which is due to her constantly getting dirty a majority of the time due to one of her jobs being outdoor work and the other being pottery. I think that Bree would be more of the bubbly personality and is often the one to get Kim out of his shell to go out on adventures. So I haven't really been able to flesh out what Kim is like, but the one definite thing is that he loves Bree. Kim is a tall Korean American with slightly wavy black hair, and I haven't really nailed down his clothing style, so I kind of just draw him in whatever. Although his expression is very cold looking, to others he's a generally quiet and shy guy, but he is very loving towards Bree. I believe that at the time of this recording it was still pretty cold out, so I kind of just drew them all wearing like jackets and sweaters and that kind of thing. And the other reason why I also drew them with that kind of clothing is so that I was kind of obsessed with drawing like sweaters and scarves for some reason. I really wish that I had actually drawn Kendall in this spread because I feel really bad about leaving her out. If you don't know, Kendall is actually my asexual character. She has like red orange hair and green eyes and wears these round glasses, and I really identify with her because she's pretty much who I want to be. She raises plants and has her own like indoor garden, not indoor garden, but like a little greenhouse area, and she sells plants from that. Yeah. I'm just spending all my thoughts on you like I need you now. I'm so in love with you, honestly. And no darkness can stop on the way. 내 눈 속에 날 보면, girl, you make all my heart melt away. Baby, be my Mary Jane. My Mary Jane. I'm just trying to get to you like I wanna make you mine. I'm just spending all my thoughts on you. I wasn't quite sure about the colors that I would use, and I probably should have done some swatches first, but I just really went into it with the coloring. I used my Ohuhu alcohol markers, and then I used my Prismacolor colored pencils in order to do some shading and add some detail to each of the characters. Overall, I'm very happy with how it looked in the end, and I was too hesitant to add a background for fear of ruining all my hard work. MaryJane, please take me. MaryJane, please love me. I'm just trying to get to you like I wanna make you mine. And with that, that's the end of the challenge. Let's take a look at how it all looks in the end. This challenge has really helped me to get out of my funk while also helping me to fill up some sketchbook spreads in order to get closer to finishing my sketchbook. I got to practice using different mediums without pressuring myself too much to fully render those sketches. Although the majority of the spreads that I did this week had to do with character design, I was still able to do concept sketches and environment sketches, which were some of my goals for this sketchbook. Here's a final flip through of all the spreads from this week, and I hope that you guys all enjoyed the video. If you like this content, please consider subscribing, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.